Good.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the All Sports All Plays Network. My name's Will Polson. Alongside with me today is the man from Jock Talk himself, Trey Colas. Trey, how we doing tonight, my man?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. We saw a couple good playoff games today after yesterday's debacle of crappy games, but today actually kind of lived up to its expectation. I can't wait to talk about it. So it's going to be good.
Absolutely. They were definitely more entertaining games, to say the least. But before we hop into that, Trey, why don't you tell them a little bit how they can become Viewer of the Month and how they can get that free T-shirt?
All right. So to get an All Sports All Play T-shirt, all you got to do is comment on our show. The one person who has the most comments at the end of our show, at the end of the month, gets that awesome All Sports All Play Network T-shirt. All you got to do is comment, be part of our show, and be the Viewer of the Month, and we'll send you out an awesome T-shirt. Now, if you're scared, don't want to be part of the show, just want to sit back, eat popcorn, laugh at me and Will at our analysts over the day or whatever the case may be, and just want a good free show, hit up one of your favorite analysts on this network. We'll hook you up with the T-shirt, and we'll send it your way for only $14.95 plus shipping and handling. Guys, Valentine's Day is coming up. Your girl might like a shirt. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hey, I got a shirt. I'm feeling pretty loved. I mean, I got it myself, but I mean, it doesn't hit the same, but it's still a great shirt. Definitely go rep the brand. But yeah, let's get right into it. Obviously, the first game today, Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to the Cleveland Browns for making it this far. A lot of people were sitting there doubting them. A lot of speculation for the Cleveland Browns, but they were able to come into Pittsburgh and upset them. First win that they got in Pittsburgh in 17 years. But today, a little bit too much for them to handle in Kansas City. We saw Patrick Mahomes go down throughout this game. Brandon, believe what you want. It's okay. But we saw Patrick Mahomes go down in this game. And then things become a lot closer. A lot lower scoring, honestly, than a lot of people have thought. But a nice time management game, actually old school football. What was your takeaway from this game?
My takeaway, everyone was kind of shocked. Like the Browns were they gained a lot of respect for being close. Should have won. Actually, probably should have won this game, but just hanging around and being a one possession game. I said all season long that the Browns are capable of making a deep playoff run this year just because of that two-headed monster, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Now both of them, they were shut out the first half, let's just be honest. But that second half, they started picking it up. Now, what really is catching my eye, I've been a Baker Mayfield hater throughout my whole career. I never thought he should have been number one overall pick. But he's slowly progressing into a top 10 kind of level quarterback right now. He had a great game today. He had 204 yards. He had one INT, whatever the case may be. He had also had a touchdown, but his QBR was 64.2. So, I mean, he's becoming a pretty – I wouldn't say he's the best out of that draft class because we all know who the best out of that draft class is. But, man, what really kind of irks me – I don't know how you feel about this, Will – is that stupid rule where you fumble the ball in the end zone and it's a touchback and you get the ball to the defense. Why not just replace it back to the – I don't understand. Why is that any different from when the ball goes out of bounds in the field of play? You know what I mean? Like, why are we rewarding the defense for the offensive player trying to make a great play when the defense had stopped. And why are we rewarding that? I just don't. It just seems like the rules committee needs to get together on that rule and come to a better solution, because honestly, that kind of cost them the game right there. That was a
difference maker for sure.
That was a big difference maker. But what also was a difference maker in that game was the Browns, after Patrick Mahomes got that concussion, which, by the way, was not a cheap hit. I don't care what anyone says. That was not a cheap hit. The guy was just making a play. It's just an unfortunate thing that happened. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes comes back next week for that awesome Bills Chiefs game, which is going to be electrifying. It's going to be high score. I can't wait to talk about that game. But whenever they stopped them in that fourth down and Baker Mayfield got the ball back and they had a chance to go take the lead and all the momentum's on their side, and they didn't even get past midfield, and they punted the ball away instead of going for it when I thought you should have gone. They didn't even get the ball back. And then they didn't even tackle Henney. I didn't even know he was still in the league. He's 35 years old. He's older than me. Made a hell of a play on that third down. He didn't get the first down, but he gave him momentum. And then Andy Reid made offensive coordinator for the Chiefs made an excellent play call. Again, no one thought in the world they were going to snap that ball on 4th and inches, and they did, and they gave a great play to Tyreek Hill. But kudos to the Browns, man. They're going to be a team in the AFC. These aren't your grandfather Browns where they're going to be one and done in the playoffs. They're a young team, especially they keep that two-headed monster. Their offensive line's getting stronger. Baker Mayfield keeps progressing the way he is. Get it one or two more. I think they need to get rid of Odell Beckham Jr. for one. We've shown that he's not anything good for this team. Probably get another number 2 wide receiver, you could say. Stefanski is a great head coach. He might be considered coach of the year in my estimation. I think he's done a fantastic job with this team. But yeah, the Browns are here to stay, and I think that the takeaway was that stupid rule in fumbling in the end zone and gave it to the Chiefs, and all the momentum went there. I think that's what got it for me.
That's really weird that point that Brandon Herrera just brought up, that this had happened on the same date in a different Browns playoff game, a fumble, and also lose by 5. Weird how history repeats itself, to be completely honest. That's kind of creepy. But yeah, that is always a real that's a weird rule. You know, whenever that fumble out of the back of the end zone, considering a touchback. I've seen the Bears lose regular season games based off of that. I remember that rule specifically from a game where there was a running back diving for the pylon, and whenever I think he missed the pylon, but the ball made contact like right on the I want to say like right on the goal line, and then just falls right out of his hands and then goes out the back. To me, I thought if the ball crosses the pylon or crosses the plane, it's a touchdown. You know, I understand you need to have possession, but at the time, whenever he reaches it, he has possession. You know, it's a weird situation if you fumble the ball, say on the 2 or on 1, and then it rolls out, because then what do? You know, it's a weird situation. Is it the team's ball on the 1 on offensive control? Is it considered a fumble? Like, what is the situation with that? It's one of those weird rules. It's like the new weird rule. You know, we always used to wonder what a catch is. Now we're wondering what a fumble is. You know, we wonder what a fumble is earlier in the first round of the playoffs in that Indianapolis Buffalo game when Zach Pascal tried to get back up and try to make a play happen again, and Buffalo forces the ball out, and they say he's down by contact. But it's really weird. Fumbles have been like the kind of the Easter egg in the playoffs this year, man. It's been a continuous storyline in almost every single game. It's kind of creepy, but yeah, no, I mean, Patrick Mahomes going down, if you watch the play, there's no harmful intent. No. There's really not. At the end of the day, it's football, man. Plays like that are going to happen. You know, you don't lead with the head. You don't, anything like that. It wasn't no malicious intent on the Cleveland Browns by any means. But plays like that happen. You know, there's a lot of players get banged up, get hit in the head, and there's going to be concussions that you don't even know about. Now, the concern for the Chiefs is obviously Pat Mahomes. You know, we've seen concussions put people out for a couple days. We've seen DeAndre Swift miss almost a whole month because of a concussion. You know, it's a matter of time for a lot of people. You know, it affects everybody differently. You know, we were all talking in the ASAP group chat prior. Is Pat Mahomes going to be there? And everybody was saying, "Oh, undoubtedly, no matter what, 150%." That, you know, that's not guaranteed. You know, and that's the thing, is that at the end of the day, he's got a career to think about. He's got health to think about. Now he has a wife and he has got a kid on the way. At the end of the day, Pat Mahomes is a husband. He's about to be a father. And at the end of the day, he's a normal man, just like the rest of us. He just plays football. So I mean, obviously, I'd imagine he'd put his health first before a game, but it is the AFC Championship game. So it's a weird spot to be in. How much do you value that? Because Pat Mahomes is obviously a difference maker, because I think you're probably with me in the fact that I don't think the Chiefs can get it done with Chad Henne.
No. And can we please stop this argument that whoever playing the quarterback for the Chiefs can make it to the AFC Championship game? Because we all know damn well and good that Henne would have played that entire game. The Browns would have won that game. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves.
Absolutely.
The plays that Patrick Mahomes was making in the first half, he had over 200 yards passing, where Aaron Rodgers only had 200. But we're not going to talk about that tonight. But but let's just drop that notion and go into your concussion protocol thing. This ain't like a sprained ankle, broken finger, whatever the case may be. Team doctors cannot clear him. It has to be an independent neurologist who has to clear him. And the brain it's all about the brain. How is he reacting this week? The good news is I saw him jogging to the locker room. That's a good sign. I saw him on Twitter this afternoon saying it's all good. I'm feeling a lot better already. So I don't know if he's just saying that to be hopeful or whether but we don't know for certain. We won't know until later in the week, probably about Wednesday or Thursday. My guess is he won't practice all week. He'll probably be cleared to play by Saturday. Because honestly, in my eyes, it didn't look like a vicious hit, mind you. It didn't look like a hard hit. I was shocked that he was down for concussion because I didn't really see it at first. But like you said, man, concussions are a different animal than a sprained ankle. You don't know what time. Like you said, you could be a couple of days, you could be fine tomorrow, or it could be 3 weeks or a month, or even a career-ending kind of things. But hopefully he gets better soon, because we don't want to be deprived of this great matchup next week, man. Because I can't wait for that matchup if he's healthy.
If both teams are 100%, it's going to be a gun show, to say the least. It's probably the two strongest arms in the NFL right now, I would say, whenever it comes to a deep ball. It's the most deep play, big explosive play potential that we've probably seen in a quarterback matchup in quite some time. So hopefully Pat Mahomes is okay. I've had a few concussions myself, man, and some of them are a bit – they're a bit taxing on you, honestly. You wake up and just feel miserable. You're tired. You've got headaches. I mean, the thing is, it affects everybody differently. Like you said, it's not that sprained ankle. It's not a broken bone. It's not something that we all know what the pain you're going through is. Concussions, depending on the intensity and what, how hard you hit and everything such as that, they can be a big difference maker. And like we've said, we saw DeAndre Swift out this season, out for 3 weeks with a concussion. This isn't a 100% guaranteed thing. We can't all just sit here and accept the fact that Pat Mahomes is guaranteed going to be in the game next week. Like Trey said, it is a matter of getting cleared by team doctors and everything such as that. So, hopeful to see him there. I definitely want him to be there, want him to be 100% just to see the game as a sports fan standpoint. But obviously, for the sake of your own health, obviously take the proper precautions, do everything you can, because I don't think anybody wants to be deprived of Pat Mahomes later in his career. So what can the Chiefs do? Because no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. There you go. We're going to get into that game a little bit later, but let's talk about the other side of the coin. Obviously, like you said, the Browns had a great run this year, and they played very well, above standards. Coach Stefanski did a great job coming in, changing culture a little bit. But like you said, they have some moves they could make. So if you're the GM of the Browns, and you're in charge of making the decisions, where do you go from here? What do the Cleveland Browns need to do next? Nate changes.
Why Nate's sleeping back there? I guess I can go into the Browns are actually in pretty good shape right now. They got a two-headed monster in running back. They got a good group of wide receivers, and Landry's our number one wide receiver, and he had 7 catches for 20 yards. I mean, Higgins is going to be a stud in this league. They're tied in. How you say his name? Njoku,
yeah.
Yeah, he's great what he is. Honestly, I think it needs to be on defensive end to start off. Maybe a defensive line, get a little more pass rushing up in there. Secondary probably needs some help as well. I think they're pretty much set on the offense. They might need another not like a stud number 2 wide receiver. But like I said, Higgins is coming along pretty good. Peoples-Jones is doing his thing. He can become better as the years go on. But honestly, it's a defensive end. I think they're pretty much set on the offensive end, the offensive line, 1 or 2 players here and there. But just little intangibles, I guess you can say. Maybe you can speak better of it because, I mean, their defense was mediocre this year. But I think that their defense is what they're need to be focused on this year, because what I know Patrick Mahomes is a stud and everything, but there was wide open. I know Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, they're all pros. They're great, but there were times they were 10 yards wide open, and the secondary was just mind-blowing awful. So maybe the secondary needs some help on the back end, safety help, whatever. Maybe even 1 or 2 one linebacker, maybe an extra pass rusher to help you. But honestly, just keep doing what you're doing, Browns. I mean, you're doing everything great. You're working. I mean, we've seen improvements each year. You're doing something right. This ain't the same old Browns. You finally got your head coach. Let's just say that. They finally got it after the 20th time. They finally got their right head coach in. And I know a lot of people were questioning that move, but we all seen that Stefanski is a great play caller and also a great head coach as well. He gets his team motivated, and he doesn't panic like the other coaches do. So, honestly, if I was a Cleveland Browns, I'd just look at the defensive side of the ball. I mean, maybe one or a receiver, maybe a late round receiver if the right guy falls to you. But I think the defensive side just needs a little bit more work.
I'm going to address, obviously, you mentioned this earlier, so just want to go back and hit on it. Brandon had asked in the comment section, do you think Stefanski is the coach of the year?
Yes. Yes, I do. From what this Cleveland Browns were and what they did, I mean, they're literally a play away from going to the AFC Championship game. I know it doesn't count after the regular season, but what he's done for the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Browns.
Indians too.
Yeah, them too, you know. He could probably be a good manager over there too, but I mean, who else are you going to give it to this year that leaps and bounds over what he's proven this year? They go from 7-9 to 11-win team. Made the playoffs. We're a game away from probably clinching the NFC North. I don't see another head coach who had a better job than he did in his first year than what other teams have already had. Because the Green Bay Packers head coach, he already got coach of the year last year. He basically inherited the same team. You see what he's doing. I just think that I think he's hands down the coach of the year. I don't know what you might disagree with me, but I think he is.
No, I'm not. I definitely wouldn't disagree with you. The only reason I would give it to Stefanski for one reason, and mainly one reason over the other candidate I'm thinking of, and it's because he made the playoffs. But because the only other person I could think of would be Brian Flores down in Miami. He went from 5-11 up to 10-6, and never really had a stable quarterback. So
that's true.
It was interesting to see what he did with that Miami Dolphins team. They did a great job changing the culture a little bit too. But there's also a big red flag in the fact that a guy going to the NFC Championship game is not in that division anymore. So, at the end of the day, they didn't have a stable quarterback at all throughout the season. We saw Ryan Fitzpatrick have time. We saw Tua Tagovailoa have time. It was a weird situation in Miami, but yet for some reason it kept working. They had an amazing defense, and that's undoubtedly, Xavier Howard led the league in interceptions with 10. That's absurd from one player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost more than some teams. It's ridiculous. He was phenomenal. Byron Jones out there did great. And then other players like Jerome Baker on the defense were a good staple for Miami. But I'm kind of hit or miss on it. I like Brian Flores, but I like Kevin Stefanski as well. I would give it to Kevin Stefanski because the Browns are more of that laughingstock team, that team that's always been in the media as what could go wrong with this team next. From going from Hugh Jackson to Freddie Kitchens, which was a weird step in the completely wrong direction. I don't know what anybody was thinking going with Freddie Kitchens as the next head coach, but then the jump from Freddie Kitchens to Kevin Stefanski has been huge. And we saw this team last year, and they, if I'm not mistaken, they still had Chubb and Kareem Hunt last year.
They didn't have Hunt last year.
Oh, they didn't have Hunt.
No, they did have Hunt after 8 games, but after 8 games, they're already out of the playoffs. But why they got Freddie Kitchens was because Baker Mayfield had that great rookie year under Freddie Kitchens. But let's just be honest, that was a joke of a move. That was a Brown kind of style move.
You seen the clip where Baker's on the sideline and Freddie Kitchens comes over and like plays with his beard, and then he walks away, and then Baker just looks at his teammate and he's like, "That guy's an idiot." Like that kind of summed up the coaching hire for me. That if you don't know about that video, anybody watching at home, please go check out that video. It's so funny. Just look up Baker calling Freddie Kitchens an idiot. It's just so good. But yeah, no, Kevin Stefanski, and I think Kevin Stefanski should be the coach of the year, because you even saw how much the change of him going to Cleveland changed the Vikings, because the Vikings were a team that should have been right up there competing with the NFC North, and they start the season 1-5. And it took a little bit for their offense to get into rhythm. We saw Justin Jefferson step out, have a great year. We saw Dalvin Cook have a great year, but Kirk Cousins really struggled, especially early on. Adam Thielen took a little bit of a dip. And yeah, they're missing Stephon Diggs too, but Justin Jefferson did a really good job of stepping right into that other wide receiver role. So really the personnel-wise on the field, it was different, but it was also kind of still the same. The only difference was they didn't have that OC anymore, and they paid for it. You know, they got off to a super cold start, and it cost them a playoff berth, really. And so to see the Minnesota Vikings, who were at the beginning of the year, you know, being in talks of fighting for the NFC North title, and then coming up completely short, falling in third place in that division, I think it really speaks a little bit to Kevin Stefanski, and I think that it shows that he should be the coach of the year. He's a hell of a guy out there, a hell of a coach. But for me, where the Browns go next, I'm kind of with you in the fact that I think we may have been talking about this before the show, or maybe you had mentioned it here. I think you did mention it while we were live. I think they need to get rid of Odell. I think they need to find a way to get Odell out of there, because Baker Mayfield was electric after Baker went down, to the point to where he was the third highest ranking quarterback. Sorry, but had to when we're talking about Stefanski. But he was the third highest rated quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes since the week that Odell went down. If I'm not mistaken, in those games he threw 19 touchdowns and 2 picks. You know, and when you're not feeling that pressure to kind of force it into Odell and get him his reps, you saw Baker thrive. Honestly, he didn't just perform well; he thrived in that offense. He looked amazing, and so I think Odell being a little bit of a distraction might need to get him out of there and maybe try to seek some defensive help with that, whether you're going to get draft capital out of Odell or whether you're able to get a player. I think that'd be big for the Cleveland Browns, because their defense is what needs help. Their offensive pieces can just stay together and develop, and that chemistry will help them out. But also, like you said, Donovan Peoples, Rashawn Higgins, like another year in the league will help them out a lot. And then just trying to figure out the defensive pieces, that'll really put this Browns team together. And you could be looking at a team who could possibly be favorites in the AFC North here in a year or two. You know, this is a team that honestly wasn't far from it already. So let's go on. Let's move on to the next game, the game that just wrapped up just a couple of minutes ago. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints for the third time this season. And everybody going, oh, yeah, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Well, we found out on Sports Minute that if you face a team 3 times, you're typically winning. You're typically pulling off the sweep 67% of the time. So don't give us that stat about it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Sure, it might be. You know, these are professional athletes. It's hard to beat a team once. But the Bucs got it done. The playoff Tom Brady came out and, it wasn't all Tom Brady. The defense did a great job. That defense did their job. That defense did a great job. Let's all be honest. That defense was probably the main contributor for why this Bucs team won this game. But this was a different look for the Bucs, and I think this was a Bucs team that we expected and hadn't really seen yet. We saw them struggle a little bit, especially against the Washington football team last week in the playoffs. Their defense was a little bit of a struggling situation. Actually, before I move on, I just got breaking news. The Los Angeles Chargers will hire the Rams defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley, as their next head coach. So there's some breaking news for you. Brandon Staley, the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. So, hey, there you go. Madison Ewan down there in Tampa right now, she says it's going nuts. I can only imagine, especially since the Super Bowl is being held in Tampa. And they're coming off of, Tampa's having probably one of the more successful seasons in sports and one of the more successful years in sports in a while. We saw the Rays go to the World Series. We saw the Lightning win the Stanley Cup. Now we're seeing the Bucks go to the NFC Championship game. Tides are changing in Tampa Bay. It's a little bit different, but speak a little bit on this game, could you, Trey?
The offense did what it had to do. They didn't turn the ball over. They scored touchdowns when the defense gave them turnovers and great field position instead of kicking field goals. That was a key in this game. And that defense, man, this kid on the defensive end for the Buccaneers, White, second-year pro. Oh my! That kid should have been a Pro Bowl. He got snubbed. I don't agree with Joe Buck a lot, but this guy was all the way, dude. He was on Alvin Kamara all game long. He didn't make it easy for him. Had an interception on him. Tackled him in the open field. This guy was all over the place. And then Murphy, another good game by him. But what I like with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I've been telling everyone this the entire time, I don't know why everyone was so afraid that the Saints were going to beat you over the top. Drew Brees cannot throw that deep ball anymore.
No.
Everyone, even before his rib injury, he did not have the arm strength. And we all saw that today. I hate seeing that because I love Drew Brees and everything like that. But why not jam them and play two back? Tampa Bay finally did that. They made the adjustment. Because that first half, they weren't doing that. They were just playing soft. They're like, no, let's jam. And they did it. Michael Thomas, we all knew he had a horrible year this year because he wasn't right after that injury. He just wasn't right.
Many catches today.
And he was worth how many $1 million? I'm
a
sorry,
lot more than this many.
Yes. But the tide turned on this game whenever the Saints converted on a third down. Cook, the tight end, caught a pass and ran the ball, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defender popped it out, and they returned. That was a momentum changer, and that's all Tampa Bay needed to secure this win. Tom Brady did just enough. Tom Brady gets stronger as the quarters go on. His fourth quarter, he looked phenomenal. He was dropping dimes in there. He made one bad pass. Lattimore probably should have picked off, and he even knew it. Everyone in the world thought it was picked off. They're not going to put that play in there anymore. But this is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that we thought we were going to see. And I got mad early because it was, I think, the first half. 2 3rd-and-1s, and they throw the ball deep. Why?
What's crazy, I've been obviously living in Tampa the last 12 years. I've come to know quite a few Bucs fans, and everybody on my podcast, Away from ASAP, are Bucs fans. And they crack me up talking about deep balls on 3-and-1. Like, there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. You should be fighting for the first down. You're not fighting for the big play.
No.
You need a yard. You need 1 yard. What are you doing? And we talked a lot about that in this game too. It was a little bit of questionable play calling, especially whenever you only need a yard. Why are you going for a 30, 40-yard pass? And one of them, if they could have got the feet down, would have been an interception. There was one that was picked off by Marcus Williams. He just couldn't get his second foot down. It was like a 50-50 ball up to Mike Evans, I want to say, against Marshawn Lattimore, and it was basically into double coverage. And Williams, the safety, lurked over there and managed to make a catch. He just couldn't get his feet in on the sideline. And, if he does, that's a game changer, because I want to say the game is tied at that point, or at least, the score was close. The score was close all game. So it was a weird situation. Why are you trying to go for this big explosive play? I don't know what Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator, is thinking of. I don't know if this is a Bruce Arians play. I don't know what the situation is. It doesn't add up, though. I can tell you that. It just doesn't make any sense.
The only thing I could think of when they do that is they're trying to catch the defense off guard, thinking that they're not going to throw the ball deep, like they're playing.
But they did it
coverage. Times. I know. That's the only, but it just doesn't make any sense. And they're not the only team that does this. There's a lot of teams that do that, and I just don't understand why you want to get that first down first, and then the next play probably do it. I don't know, but that's just beside the point. They got that. But besides that, Bruce Arians and the offensive coordinator, Leftwich, stuck to the game plan. They ran the ball. They didn't force it. They stuck with running the ball. And Leonard Fournette showed why. He was a great running. He's a little bit older now, but he ran the ball extremely well today, and especially in the second half. Jones, the second, he was injured. He had a quadricep injury, and he just muscled through, and he made big play after big plays. The team rushed for 127 yards, and that was pretty much the difference of the game. No turnovers and rushing the ball, and then Tom Brady made the plays when he had to with quarterback sneaks and then the 2 touchdown passes as well. So I think Leonard Fournette was the player of the game on the offense, and then that other kid, White, with defensive end, basically carried them to the NFC Championship game. But on the other hand, on Drew Brees, and I knew when Harris went out, they were going to have problems because that was their only deep threat. Thomas can't beat you over the top. Cook sure as heck can't beat you over the top. Sanders is good in the slot. But Drew Brees, man, he was throwing. He looked old. He looked every bit of 40. He was 42 years old today. He just was mustering those, like just trying to get him in there. And then that first pick was just ugly. The second pick to Camara was, I don't know, misinterpretation between the two. But even if he would have thrown it deep, there was double coverage on the back end. He would easily got a picked off right there as well. And then the third one was kind of a fluke play where Cook went off his shoulder and the guy intercepted, and basically the game was over at that point anyway. But I hate to say that because Drew Brees is a great quarterback, but man, karma's a funny thing because the Buccaneers turned the ball over the first 2 games, and that's what the difference in the game was. And today the Buccaneers had 0 and the Saints had 3 turnovers. So, and people are saying, well, they had Taysom Hill, it would have been a different story. No, Tampa Bay would have won this game regardless of with Hill or without Hill. Buccaneers didn't turn the ball over. Their defense played extremely well. So hats off to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're hot. They are hot. And I know in our group chat, everyone's like, oh, the Green Bay Packers are on a whole new level. No, they're not. They're not. That Rams game is a lot closer than what the score indicated. Let's just be – Jared Goff was a joke as a quarterback, and Sean McVay knows that, and that's why he's evaluating the quarterback position. But we'll talk about that game next week.
I on Sports Minute the other day, I gave credit to Jared Goff. You know, he came out and he played with his thumb, frequently.
He did.
2 weeks off, and he only missed 6 passes, honestly, in the cold for a cold game. I know he's not great in the cold. He honestly played above his standards. He did a lot better than what he typically does. I gave him credit because obviously with Wolford going down from that shot that he took against Seattle, it's Goff or it's nobody.
It's your punter. The punter is your backup.
Johnny Hecker.
Yeah. No, the reason I said he had a good game, I'm not denying that, but he has when the pressure gets on him, he had the chance to go down and tie the game, and he got sacked. Or it was just he doesn't know how to he tries too hard. He doesn't read coverages right when it gets tight. He actually had a pretty good game with everything, all the circumstances, and especially going to Lambeau in that cold weather and everything like that. But the Saints. I didn't think the Saints. I think the Saints probably should have lost Chicago Bears if the Chicago Bears had any play calling ability to throw the ball deep, which they didn't let him at all. That again, Nagy, I don't know what his game plan was, but on the offensive side, because that wasn't it. The Saints defense, they're not that great if you figure out how to rush the ball against them, and then they have the 2 safeties back. They can score 30 points on them like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers showed you. Also helps we can get turnovers. But their offense is not electrifying anymore. The offense they look old. They look really, really old, even though Michael Thomas is still young. Alvin Kamara is still young. But Drew Brees is just I hate saying it because I love the dude, but it's time. It's time. Drew Brees basically – I hate for him to go out this way because he's a great ambassador, but you just saw all game long. And you even saw it in that Bears playoff game last week. It's just not there anymore. Honestly, at some point I was thinking that maybe you should put in Winston because if you can't throw the ball deep, and that's what you need to do in the fourth quarter, you might even put Winston in to throw the ball deep. I mean, but they didn't do it. They want to stick with Drew Brees, which I understand. I would have too. He's been there. He's done it. He's won a Super Bowl. But, man, hats off to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll move on, and it's going to be an electrifying next round. I'm going to say my pick for next. I'm going to say my pick later on in the week.
I tell you, well, actually, later on in the show, we're going to get to that. But
thanks. Now I got to do research real quick.
But yeah, no. Whenever we were talking about that Saints defense, if you can run the ball, it works out pretty well. And both of these running backs, Leonard Fournette averaging about 4 yards a carry today, Rojo averaging about 5. This is a running attack from the Buccaneers that we typically haven't seen. They're typically the aerial attack. They're very pass heavy. We saw them earlier in the year against the Saints run the ball 4 times in a game. This is a team that is quick to abandon the run, and they really stuck to it today. They've stuck to the game plan, like you said. It was a nice all-around game. And by the way, need to address the comment from Brandon Herrera in there that said it's tough to beat a team 3 times in the season. I already addressed that before.
I want to talk about that real quick. I was going to get to there. With that, I saw that stat too. It's like 68% of the time the team wins 3-0. But a lot of those times, we all know the superior team is like the team that beat you 2 times. But this was a different circumstance. This was Tom Brady and a better offense. Let's just be real. Tom Brady, the first time they played, they had no OTAs, they had no training camp. Essentially, they're trying to mesh all the pieces together. That wasn't a
game.
Yeah, and then the next game in Week 9, that's the first game they got Antonio Brown activated, and they're trying to do something right there too, and just had turnovers. That wasn't Tampa Bay Buc team that we saw now. That's why I said it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, and we all know that Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a good team.
Absolutely. But while we're on this game, do want to change the slide. And like you said, you said some great words about him. Drew Brees speculated to be his final game in the NFL today. This could be his final farewell. This could be the last time we see him strap up in football pads. And obviously, going down as one of the greats. Going down as one of the greatest to ever do it whenever it comes to the quarterback position. Going down as one of the greatest underdog stories of all time, whether it be, your size, giving those shorter quarterbacks, hope in the NFL, look at changing the position for a guy like Russell Wilson or like Kyler Murray. Everybody said that whenever he had his shoulder injury that he wasn't going to be the same guy anymore. And yet here he is, battling for the number 1 spot, most passing yards of all time, most passing touchdowns of all time. The guy really changed the game. And also, not even from that standpoint all around from the NFL, but he really brought hope back to New Orleans because they ended up winning that Super Bowl right after Hurricane Katrina. Drew Brees is honestly a staple to the NFL. And it's going to be really weird without him, I think. It's going to be weird to turn on a Saints game and not see number 9 out there. Obviously, nobody's going to wear this number again in Saints history. You can bet that. You can take that to the bank right now. You'll never see number 9 on the field again for the New Orleans Saints. But obviously a hell of a career, absolutely phenomenal. Like we said, just change the quarterback position. And you talked a lot about it. And I just wanted to say a couple of words for Drew Brees because it's going to be weird. It was weird to see the game change. It was weird to see him change. Like you said, it was, whenever we talked about it, obviously just a couple of years ago, this was a guy who could still sling it with the best of them. And, another shoulder injury cost you a little bit. And then the ribs, going down this year with the ribs and the collapsed lung, almost a little unceremonious, especially without fans too. It's a weird send off. It is. So I wanted to do what I could to kind of honor Drew Brees and say thank you for everything he's done in the game, because what a weird way to go. And it almost makes you think, is he going to come back? But
Madison.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh my God, Madison, I love you. Madison, I love you. I love you. I love what you bring here, but that's going to be the most idiotic question I've heard on this. Is he the guy's leading the league in passing yard, almost second to passing yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, completions. This guy is above. He said, I'm sorry, Madison. I love you. I shouldn't have said idiotic, but I was shocked that I saw that from you. I was. He's a Hall of Fame. I love you, Madison. I'm sorry.
Madison has a lot of good comments that aren't put up on the screen. Why you got to call her out like that and throw that one on there? Okay.
Because I was shocked. I was like, "Are you?"
I'm yelling at Nate for putting that comment.
Oh, yes. I'm like, Nate.
Hall of Famer. Let's get that out of the way. But absolutely, first ballot, no question. But. Drew Brees is just ridiculous. He changed the game. He really did. It was just a question.
I know, Madison. I know.
Nobody's an idiot here. Everybody's having a great time. Viewer of the month. She's great. But yeah, Drew Brees is just as awesome, and even more in the quarterback position. Phenomenal guy. So Drew Brees. Honestly, I wish it wasn't the last time we saw you. If it is, congrats on a hell of a career. But you were right, man. That shoulder's just not the same. That deep ball today, they had one attempt over 20 yards, and Jameis Winston threw it. It wasn't Drew Brees, and so I don't want to see him stick around any longer. If this is actually his farewell, although it's a little unceremonious and although it's a little awkward, I definitely want to. I don't want to see him go down. I want to remember Drew Brees for what he was and not what he is.
And it sucks the way it is and everything. But I just want to say something about Troy Aikman in the comment. If you even want to watch this game, I'm sorry you had to listen to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for one. I don't know how they're still the Fox commentators of the year. I just don't understand. There's a lot better commentators on Fox and what they're putting out there because Troy Aikman. We can do better than without any. Just throw us out there on Super Bowl and guarantee we'll grow more. People will be laughing at us, but we'll be a lot better than Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
I'm having a great time.
Like one thing I just want to comment what he said. Like he always critiques quarterbacks, and I'm like, dude, you shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Troy Aikman.
For you to say anything, Troy.
Yeah, you should have run the. I'm like, you had a Hall of Fame Emmitt Smith running back. You had this great offensive line where anybody could have. If Tony Romo would have had the guy, I'm just shut up about Troy Aikman, but whatever. But what he said was, I hope Drew Brees doesn't retire. Why, dude? I don't want to see Drew Brees get hurt again. I don't want to see. I know it sucks. There's no fans, and I know he didn't want to go out the way he did. But this guy, Drew Brees, we want to see him as a competitor that he was, throwing the football. But off the field, he loves his kids. He doesn't want to be one of these old people who stay in the game way too long. Let's just face the facts. 42 is good enough for a quarterback. And we all see what Big Ben looks like, Phillip Rivers looks like. But at age 42, him and Tom Brady have set the bar, and kudos to them for whatever. Because I'm 34 and I can't even get out of bed half the morning. So kudos to whatever they're doing. But let's just say Drew Brees' astonishing career, never a bad thing about. The only thing was that controversial comment that he made earlier in the year when all the protests and everything. That's the only thing bad you got to say about Drew. And that was just what he believed as him as a personal guy, what he believed in. And he took it back and he probably whatever you want to say about that. Take that aside. This guy has no negative effects towards the game, nothing bad. He's a class act. He's a family man first and foremost, and he wants to play with his kids. Kids are young; they're starting to get to that age. I think he wants to coach them in football, play around with them, and then he's seen these older guys, and he's a smart man. He's seen the older guys where they can't even get out of bed. They can't go play with their kids. They can't. And I think that rib injury and the collapsed lung and everything. I think that. He knew right there. This is it. This is it. Everyone did, and even though you have no fans or anything like that, we all know what you mentioned in New Orleans Saints, the state of Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina, everything like that. So, man, I love you, Drew Brees, but for the love for your family, your wife, for Saints, just move. You just got to move on, set for it, and I think you'd be great in a booth, or maybe even as a quarterbacks coach, whatever. You're going to be better. You're going to do great, whatever you do after this life. But we don't want to remember you as an old crippled man trying to win another Super Bowl. Because let's just face the facts. That's what Peyton Manning was doing. He barely got there. The only reason he got there is because of that great defense. And I just don't see it in the future. This was your last shot. I love you, Drew Brees, but I don't see a Super Bowl in the next 3 years with the Saints team. I really don't. I think time has come. I think we all remember you're a great guy. I know you wanted another Super Bowl for the Saints community, but unfortunately some things don't happen. That's why we love sports, right? You're a competitor, but hell of a career, Drew. I never really liked you on the field, but I really didn't. I always thought he was overrated, but he also set the bar for these like the Russell Wilsons of the world, if you may, right. like Kyle Murray's and not Baker Mayfield's. You never saw a quarterback under 6'4" in the league, and he set the bar and he made the way for these great quarterbacks that you're seeing today. So, just in that perspective, thank you for that, and thank you for everything you've done for the city of New Orleans. Because without you there and doing all the things you do with your charity work and stuff, that city probably would have not be what it was today. So congratulations on your career. And hopefully, I know this is all speculative, but congratulations on your career. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely with Drew Brees. Hell of a guy on and off the field. Congratulations on everything. But that kind of segues into the next topic, which if number 9's not going to be there, and it takes us into the next slide, who's the next guy? who takes over the helm? We talked about where the Browns should go. We need to talk a little bit about where the Saints should go, because obviously this team's got it kind of made. Honestly, this team's pretty set, but obviously if Drew Brees retires, there's a hole there. And so do you stick in the organization and go with a Jameis Winston? Do you go out and do you go get a young guy in Deshaun Watson, or maybe a little bit older guy in Matt Stafford? Do you go get a bridge guy like Phillip Rivers? I mean, do you address it in the draft? What are you doing if you are the Saints? Where are you looking for the next quarterback?
Oh, man. Well, for one, could we get number 17 off that screen, because there's no way he's going to know. I mean, I'm sorry. He's worse than Drew Brees is. There's no way Saints are going to turn to him. The shot put, throwing motion, he barely made it to the year this year. I think Phillip Rivers is retiring this year. He's done. He signed that 1 year for – you forgot Kirk Cousins. No one's going to sign Kirk Cousins anymore. Like, we all see what he is. He's an awful game manager. Honestly, I wouldn't take Matthew Stafford. He's too injury prone. I love Matthew Stafford. I think he's getting raw deal in Detroit. He's a loyal guy. He wants to win. He wants to win so bad in Detroit, but it ain't going to happen with that that organization that you have in Detroit. We all seen that with the head coaching that they're hiring and everything. I honestly wish the Cowboys would have traded for Matthew Stafford just for this 1 year and then see if he can make a move there, but he ain't going to go to New Orleans. The Saints need to start young. Honestly, I would see what it would take to get Deshaun Watson over there. I really would. He's from the South. He's from the Atlanta area. It's not that far away. He plays ball at Clemson, SEC ball. So he's familiar with the scenery around there, as always. And plus, he has weapons in Michael Thomas and Harris, and Sean Payton's a great a lot better than Bill O'Brien was to him. Sean Payton can, let's see what he did with Drew Brees and the Taysom Hills of the world. I mean, for God's sake, the last 2 years when Brees was out, they only lost one game. That was this year. So I'll see what it takes. Now, I wouldn't trade the farm for Deshaun Watson, because you have Winston right there. And I kind of want to see what Winston has out of Bruce Arians, because Bruce Arians was that deep ball thrower kind of system. And I want to see what because let's just be honest, Sean Payton's a great quarterback whisperer for some odd reason. He really knows how to coach. He coached Tony Romo, had a very successful season in that.
When Drew Brees went down, they still won.
Mm-hmm.
They always won.
Yeah, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater came back after his knee injury. He won. He was. That's why he got him a great contract in Carolina.
Yeah.
So I would honestly, I know Winston's a 30-30 guy in Tampa Bay, but I kind of want to see what Payton has, and so, with a great head coach like Payton is. I just want to see how Winston would be under that circumstances. And then I will, depending on where you draft, maybe you can draft higher and get like a backup quarterback for the future or whatever the case may be. But I would test the market for Watson, see what they're wanting to give up for him, because I don't know what's going on in the Houston water out there. The football, basketball, everybody wants out of Houston. I don't know what's going on in Houston. I don't know what. And I live 3 hours away from there, and I don't know what's going on over there. I'm shocked. I just don't know. But, man, that's what I do. I just test the trademark, because I wouldn't trade the farm for Deshaun Watson. I really wouldn't, especially with that contract. He'll be a great player. He's a winner. Dabo Swinney said it. He wins everywhere he goes, but he didn't have no players this year, and he still went 7-9. They traded their best receiver. I would see what they had for him. If it's reasonable, if it's just like maybe a first-round draft pick, I would. But I honestly want to see what Winston has. I really, because he showed in that one game, the next game that he replaced Drew Brees in, in the same game, he took over snaps for Drew Brees. He looked phenomenal under that system. So I kind of want to see it. I just do. I think that maybe you should trade up in the draft and then see who the quarterbacks are left in that situation too. But on me personally, I just want to see what Winston has. Sign him to another 1 year deal. A big deal, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you still have Taysom Hill. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Obviously, right now, this is only a 1 year deal. I want to say like a 1 year, $1 million deal for. I hear the asking price is a few. Throw that back up there. I hear the asking price a few first rounders along with a couple second rounders and a Pro Bowl type player. That's so ridiculous.
No,
that's so much.
And a Pro Bowl top player? No way I'll do that.
There's
no way I'll do it.
Not a chance. But especially just for one player and nothing else in return. But Jameis Winston on a 1-year deal. Sean Payton has already come out and said that he is very excited to re-sign Jameis Winston, that he wants to go after and go get him. So honestly, I like 2 moves on here, especially if that's the asking price for Deshaun Watson. I hate that now. But I want to re-sign Winston, and then I want to go, like you said, go use one of those second or those third round picks and go get a quarterback later on. Obviously, don't get one of the top guys, and basically the top guys are going to be gone by the time you pick anyway. So wait a little bit, go get a guy who could be a developmental project, get a guy that you could work on and develop over time, and have a little bit of a quarterback contest. See what happens. I think going straight from Drew Brees to Deshaun Watson would be a little bit over the top. Because that's obviously with this roster, you're in win now mode. But Jameis could win now. Jameis could make it happen. Jameis could, if in the right system, Jameis could make it work. Still, I want to say they went 5-9 like 7-9 last year, or 6-10, something like that.
7-9
with the Bucks, even throwing 30 picks. So imagine if he can find a way to knock it back a little bit. Like you said, Sean Payton's an amazing guy whenever it comes to quarterback development. We've seen what he's done with Drew Brees' career, and then Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, the list goes on. But yeah, I mean, Sean Payton is a talented guy whenever it comes to the quarterback position. And I think if Jameis is fixed his eyesight, like he says he has, if he gets into that new system and he learns a little bit, obviously he's already been there a year. He knows the playbook. He knows everything such as that. And he's got that. Winston has that mentality. He's got that dog factor to where, like, he's not afraid of anybody. He really is. We saw it in his time in Tampa Bay. He's not afraid to go make that big play when he has to. He's not afraid to go make that extra deep throw, and he's not afraid to take the risk. And honestly, this is something that would be something that the Saints offense has been missing for a couple years, just because of the injury with Drew Brees in his shoulder. So I think Winston and bringing in somebody else through the draft to kind of compete with him a little bit. Don't let Winston, don't re-sign Winston and be like, hey, you're our guy now. You gotta wait a little bit. You gotta try to make something happen. So we'll see exactly what happens there for the Saints. But now it's time for the big guns. We start with the AFC Championship game. We've made it to the Final Four. In the AFC, it's the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, the 1 and the 2, exactly the teams that on paper should be here whenever you look at it from that standpoint. So Buffalo Bills are going into Arrowhead. They're going to be facing Kansas City, who could or could not be without Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be interesting, and obviously a lot of this game is very dependent on if number 15 is going to be in or out. But let's talk about it a little bit. Predictions, expectations. What do you got?
Oh, why do you do this to me right now, man? Why can't we have a show like, Wednesday night on Sports Minute where I'm a guest and I could come and pick my game because I want to know what patent? We can't do that?
Nope.
All right.
I don't know. I barely read anything here.
I love Pat Mahomes, but no one circles the wagons.
Facts.
Me and Will are on the same boat here. We both thought that the Bills were the only ones who would give the Chiefs the Chiefs a run for their money would be the Buffalo Bills. I think we're the only one. Everyone thought we were crazy for some reason. I don't know why, because if anyone watched football with that blind eye and knew that the Bills were a great team this year. The thing that scares me about the Bills is if this was in Buffalo and Bill Mafia, I would probably pick the Bills.
Oh, imagine Buffalo, a full stadium.
I'll hide all the tables, hide everything. You're not going to have a table.
Let them loose. Like the Dudley boys in WWE, just go break them.
I got to think that Patrick Mahomes is playing this game, just from what I saw and from what I'm reading on Twitter and what his wife said. He said, we're going to be all right. Everything's fine. But the weapons that they have, that defense makes plays when they have to. We saw that against Cleveland today. They give up big plays. They're one of the world's worst red zone defensive teams. They give up a lot of touchdowns when they're in the red zone. But they make that it's a weird defense that it's been like that for you. They make the play when they have to. Like Tyrann Mathieu, Tyrann Mathieu doesn't get enough love in my estimation. This guy is on a future Hall of Famer outlook that guy is all over the place. He's a great safety. He's a ball hawk. He makes a big play. He's in your face. He intercepts the ball whenever he needs to be done. He tackles in open field. He's a great player at LSU. I can't. The too many weapons on the Chiefs. I think their Bills are a year away from doing it. But I think for the first time, we're going to see back-to-back Super Bowl appearances for the first time since New England Patriots, I think.
I think so.
Back-to-back, yeah, and they won it too. So I just got to think Patrick Mahomes is going to be in there. Too many weapons. It's at Arrowhead. Now, would I be shocked if the Bills win this game? No. Well, I mean, let's just be honest. I really don't care who wins this game. I have no horse in this race. I love both these teams.
Right.
I feel bad for the Bills fans because of 4 Super Bowls in the 90s. They lost. They should have won one because of a missed field goal, but we're going to get in that, Bills Mafia. Good times are up and rising with your team that you have now. Let's look for the future. Teams up and rising, but I until someone knocks off the champions, I just got to pick Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is a bad man. I'm sorry. He's just the best quarterback in the league. We saw that today. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. I think he won the game in 3 quarters where you had to take 4. I'm just saying. So I'm picking the Chiefs just because of that reason.
I am right there with you with the fact that I have a tough time picking this one. I really do, just because this is the match.
Why are we picking it?
Because this is the show, man. Content. But man, Nate's jumping the gun. I haven't even talked about the NFC, and he's already telling me Super Bowl winning. But it's weird because the Chiefs right now, whenever I'm looking at the Chiefs, like you said, you have to speculate that Pat Mahomes is going to be in there, but they're still without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is still, in today's game, they were still able to manage. Williams was their leading rusher at 78 yards. So it's nothing to be upset about. I mean, it's not a bad game because the Bills' running attack is atrocious. One of the bottom ones in the league. Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, TJ Yeldon, still employed out in Buffalo. Congratulations to him, making easy money. But something's telling me, man, I got to keep doing the wagons. I just got to keep doing it. I've been on this Bills hype train for too long. I can't hop off now. It's hard to go to back-to-back Super Bowls, man, and it's really hard to repeat. We're talking about three times in a season. Okay, no, it's a little bit of a harder feat to go back-to-back to the Super Bowl, and obviously if a team could do it right now, it'd be the Kansas City Chiefs. But there's just something telling me that if Pat Mahomes plays in this game, he won't be 100%. And I think it's going to be just enough of a difference maker to where the Bills could pull this out. Granted, I think this game could be game of the year. I think this could be the best game that we saw, regular season, postseason, everything. I think this game could be ridiculous. And this game has the potential to be an absolute shootout if both teams are healthy, because we know what Josh Allen can do with his weapons. We know what Pat Mahomes can do. We've seen it multiple years now. It's ridiculous, the offensive potential in this game, because this is a game where both teams could put up 50. They're not going to, but it could. These are offenses. Awesome. They have that ability, and it's so fun to watch. I'm happy it's these two. Honestly, I really am, because I wouldn't want to watch the Ravens in this and just watch Lamar Jackson run around, do laps all day. It's just going to be stupid. And Pat Mahomes has never lost to Lamar in his career, so that just makes it even worse. And Josh Allen, and I've said it before. No, not like a 49-48 score, because no team is putting up 97 points combined, Nate, in the playoffs. You're ridiculous. Get out of here, and you smell funny. But whenever I can smell you from here. But whenever we're talking about this game, like the Bills just intrigue me more. They really do. And I don't know if it's just because of recency bias or just because of the way I've been watching them play and just how fun of a team they've been to watch. Now that Josh Allen finally has a weapon, I've said it already, and I said it weeks ago, that this Josh Allen's a future MVP. It's a matter of time. Once he gets that deep ball accuracy, on a more consistent basis, this guy's going to be putting up consistent 5,000-yard seasons, and he's going to be hard to stop. And it's just a matter of getting that deep ball accuracy and limiting the interceptions a little bit, because the guy's mobile, the guy can run, and he's not afraid to slide either. He's not going to do that. He's going to just drop his head and bowl you over. He's a big dude. And Stephon Diggs has been a grace for this team. He's been stepped in to become one of the better receivers in the NFL right now. The Bills can't make it to the Super Bowl until the Vikings do, so it'll be 0-4 versus 0-4. Now, that'd be fun to watch. Somebody's got to be a tie. Yeah, right. It'd be the first tie in Super Bowl history. But I'm going to be different from you, just for the sake of fun. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagons like them. Send them down to Tampa Bay. Let Josh Allen play in the warmth for a little bit. I'm sure he's getting a little tired of the cold, even because he's been in Wyoming and went to Buffalo. Get him in some warm weather. Let's see how he plays there. So
it's not much warmer in Kansas City, buddy. It was cold today.
That's why I'm saying get him out of Kansas City and put him.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Move him to the warm, because in Raymond James on a February day, it ain't cold. Trust me. I lived down there for a while. It's not cold. It's never cold.
No, I thought you were talking about this week, but I do want to say one thing because I didn't get to talk about it. Thank you, Buffalo Bills. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you. I don't get to watch Lamar Jackson run around and everyone can pretend that he's a great quarterback anymore. Thank you. Thank you.
Amen.
Let's just be honest with ourselves. All you got to do is stack the box, make Lamar Jackson a thrower. We all see he cannot do it. He cannot beat you throwing the ball. That's all I got to say. Thank you, Bills. Thank you.
Amen. So let's change the tides a little bit. We're going from a 25-year-old and a 24-year-old quarterback to yet another History Channel matchup in the 42-year-old quarterback versus the 37-year-old quarterback. On the Lambeau Field, Tom Brady's got to go into Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers. Another great game, honestly. This has the potential to be like the most entertaining championship week in a while, because these are honestly really good games. The 1 seed versus the 5 or no, the 6, the 5.
No, 5.
It's 60 degrees. That's freezing to me. It snowed today. Shut up. Where I'm at, it snowed all day. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, no, it's obviously, obviously all jokes. But yeah, Tampa Bay at the number 5 seed going into Green Bay to take on the number 1 seed Packers. Packers coming off of a win over the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, we just saw what the Bucs did to the Saints. It's a matter of who shows up, really. I'll start with this one. It's a matter of what defense is going to show up, because if the Green Bay Packers, who have not been able to stop the run damn near all season, if they get a couple stops in there, it could be all Green Bay. Jair Alexander is going to give a wide receiver a tough time all night, and honestly, it would almost be like losing an option every single time whoever's going up against Jair. But the Bucs don't have much of cornerback help or secondary help in general, but they have the pass rush ability, and they can get after Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers is, again, it's one of those to where this is a weird matchup, because the Bucs have that pass rush ability, but the Packers get the ball off so quick. The Bucs have that the lack of running attack, but the Packers have one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. So somebody's going to have to play a little uncharacteristic to win this game, in my opinion. And it's just a matter of who can do that better. And I think 38-10 is nuts. I don't know where 38-10 came from. I don't think the Bucs are going to be held to 10 points. You're telling me Tom Brady in a playoff game is going to be held to 10 points? What's next? The Browns and Chiefs are going to combine for 97? Crazy talk. But I honestly think the Bucs are going to win this game. I think the Bucs are going to find a way to do it. I trust the Bucs rushing attack to be more effective than the Green Bay Packers trying to make plays happen, because obviously Devontae Adams is going to eat. He does what he does. He's going to line up in the slot. He'll get those quick plays, and he'll get his. But I think this is probably going to be – I think this is easily the harder matchup for the Green Bay Packers. It would have been the Rams, but Aaron Donald didn't play but 4 snaps.
Oh, I know, that pissed me off.
And I brought that up on Sports Minute. You talk about, We beat one of the better defenses. No, you didn't. The best player in the world, it was not on the field. You didn't beat one of the better defenses. Sure, they're still great on the secondary, but they, literally lost the biggest piece of the whole puzzle. And so it's ridiculous. So no, I don't believe that at all. So I think the Bucs can find a way to win this game. I don't know what it is. Something's telling me that Tampa Bay is going to be playing in the Super Bowl and probably will still be considered the away team on paper. But even though they'll be in Tampa Bay, they're going to have some fans in the stands. I think they're at 23% capacity. Wouldn't be shocked if that's all Tampa Bay Bucs fans. But Tom Brady in the playoffs, I said it earlier last week. I'm going to say it again this week. I can't go against him. And you and I, similar to Jared Goff, we don't like Aaron Rodgers. And for some reason, even though he's the GOAT, can't ever make it happen in the playoffs, ever. He hasn't been there in over a decade. And Tom Brady is literally the king of consistency. What's a 7th ring to Tom Brady? It's probably just a paperweight at this point. But I think he could get there. I think this Bucs team is capable of doing it. I think they're an amazing pass rush defense. I think that they're going to give Aaron Rodgers a little bit more fits than we typically see. And I think that they have the offense to make it happen over the defense of the Packers. And I trust Tom Brady to go in there and take down Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people were doubting Tom Brady today because he has a 5-2 record against Drew Brees. And, obviously the Bucs lost both times to the Saints earlier in the season, but Tom Brady made it happen. At the end of the day, it's Tom Brady in the playoffs, and I can't go against him. I'm still not going to go against him. When we get to the Super Bowl, maybe if he gets there. But as of right now, Tampa Bay, Super Bowl, I'm booking it.
Okay. First off, sometimes I hate being on the All Sports All Play Network because of delusional fans bandwagon fans like Freddie, who they drive me insane in these group chats.
Amen.
Now Ace and J Mac, they're cool. They're true fans. They've been
Amen.
there. They're not smack talking. But these bandwagon fans like Freddie, I love you, Freddie. Thanks for giving me a job on here. I appreciate you, everything. But dude,
he's a bandwagon. That's what he is.
It drives me insane because I can't pick games right. I can't because I picked the Packers to lose to the Rams just because of that alone. And I just because I hate the Packers so much, I just want them to lose. I pick and I could have been under whatever. But anyway, that's one reason I don't like. The only bad thing about this, but you're right. If this Tampa Bay defense shows the play tonight, goes in Lambeau and does that thing. Oh, Tampa Bay's going to win this game. I have no questions about it because they're going to lock up. If that secondary plays the way they did tonight, and they actually covered, what's that guy's name from Green Bay? Lazard?
Yeah, Alan Lazard.
They did a great job on Devontae. Adam Smith, whatever his name is. What's his name?
What?
Adam? The wide receiver.
Valdez Scantling? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the stud wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
Devontae Adams, yeah.
Yes, Adam. I get him and Smith mixed up all the time from Alabama. But anyway, Devontae Adams. Jalen Ramsey did his thing on there. He had his catches here and there, got a couple good key first downs. But they forgot about the other guy named Lazard for some reason. He had a heck of a game. And he was wide open where me and you could throw those balls to him. I don't think the Tampa Bay Buck. I think Todd Bowles is a great defensive mind coach. I think he's got to get good. You saw it today. Drew Brees is another type of quarterback that gets out of the ball quick. And whether the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they actually worked on getting the hands up, making a little bit more, making the higher throws and stuff like it. I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to contain Aaron Rodgers in the box. He's not going to let him go on a little rollout. Remember, you have Zoo, you have Jason JPP, you have all these stud linemen, and then the secondary studs up like the way they did tonight. Dude, and then the Buccaneers consistently run the ball the way they – remember, the cold weather ain't going to mean nothing to Tom Brady. Like, oh, Tom Brady plays in more. He played in New England and blizzards and everything like that. This guy's used to it. Yeah, this guy is not scared of the cold weather.
He went to school in Michigan. He's fine.
Yeah, he's a California kid who's not afraid of the cold. Let's say that. But I think what's going to drive the Buccaneers, and I think what's going to drive Tom Brady is not that it's a home game, home Super Bowl for him. I think it's that ring, getting that ring. He's tasting. Now he can taste it, right? He can taste that ring without Bill Belichick. And that's what's gonna strive him. And then a lot of people are gonna end this conversation of who needed who and Tom Brady's going to have that one leg up. I think that's driving. I think Tom Brady's going to have a heck of a game. It's going to be cold, but I think Tom Brady likes this matchup better than he did the matchup tonight. I really do. I saw a happy Tom Brady after they went up 10 points, mainly because they're going to the NFC Championship game. But I think whoo, that was my biggest hurdle, and we just got past it. We beat this Packers team. We can beat them again. There's fans at Lambeau, but it's not that. I mean, there was a lot of fans. I was shocked. I mean, fans were at Lambeau because they weren't having it.
They looked like COVID didn't exist there. It was kind of bad.
But yeah, I just think that with the pass rush that the Buccaneers are going to get, I think they're going to get a little bit of pressure. I think they're going to contain Aaron Rodgers in the box. I think that secondary is going to show up. I think if White has the game that he did tonight, and if they stop the run game, Tom Brady, I just feel he's that close to another Super Bowl ring without Bill Belichick. I just can't see him. I don't go against Tom Brady for what I don't care. Even though you probably know they're going to lose in the playoffs, but you still pick him because it's seeking Tom Brady, and he finds a way to get it done week in and week out. I know I hate Aaron Rodgers, and I know I don't like the Packers, but if the Packers were playing the Saints, I would have picked the Packers. But Tom Brady being this close to win another Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, I got to pick Tampa Bay just for those reasons alone. And I hope you're right. I hope both these games are like the matchups of the year. Hope they're great games. I hope everything in the world of it, because we deserve it after the NCAA playoffs were a bust. And some of the playoff games this year were a bust. The Colts-Bills game, that was a very good game on Wild Card Weekend. I think that was the only good game. Then yesterday's games were kind of boring to watch as well, except for today's games were actually pretty fun to watch. But we deserve two great championship games. We deserve Tom Brady, the GOAT, versus the up-and-coming GOAT, and Patrick Mahomes. That's what we deserve as an NFL fan. We don't need to see and this is what I'm afraid of, Will. This is what I'm afraid of. The NFL is going to sneak their little noses in it, and they're going to want Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes to settle the debate on two Midwest cities. Who's going to be the best quarterback in the league? That's what I'm afraid of. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. But I have Tampa Bay winning this game.
And don't forget, the Bucs played the Packers earlier this year, won 38-10, and also sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times. So
I'm telling you, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Ronald Jones ran for 130.
So he's hurt now. He's hurt.
He is hurt. Obviously he is a little bit hurt.
But if Fournette has the game that he had tonight, I'm telling you, man, this matchup favors Tampa Bay a lot better than what New Orleans was going to offer them. I'm telling you. They got past New Orleans. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. And I hope and you're not going to shut me up in the chat room if this happens. I'm telling you right now. You better mute me. I'm going to FaceTime every one of you Packer. Well, Freddie most of all. I'm not at that.
Yeah, that's Freddie really.
Freddie better turn his phone off. I'm telling him that right
Ace
now.
and J-Mac, I'll feel kind of bad. I mean, I'm a Bears fan. Get out of here. But Freddie, we're coming for you. It's going to be bad if they manage to lose this game. So, and I'm sure we're not the only ones on the network who will come after you. So just prepare for that. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this. Obviously, going into the championship week with some amazing matchups. Obviously, whenever we're looking at the youth movement on the AFC side between Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, and then the other generation of quarterbacks and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, it really will be, no matter who the quarterbacks are, it's almost a passing of the torch kind of quarterback or kind of Super Bowl. We're going to get a young guy versus an older guy, and it's going to be an interesting matchup either way. But right now it's looking awesome, and it looks like these could honestly be two of the greatest games that we've had all year. Hopefully we're right, because like you said, we got a couple of duds this playoff series. Obviously Seattle, LA was terrible.
I didn't watch that second half of that game. I went and got a new phone during that game. I'm just telling you. I didn't even care for that game.
Bears Saints was not great. Just not fun. Honestly, Bills Ravens was kind of boring. It wasn't great. It was a good defensive showing by the Bills, but other than that, it was just like it was a snooze fest. So hopefully they can figure something out here in the championship week, because as NFL fans, we deserve better. I demand good games. I demand 49-48. I'm with Nate. No, I'm not.
Well, I am if it's a good caliber game where the defense ain't laying them down. Like that Rams Chiefs game was a couple years ago.
That amazing game.
That was an amazing game. That's why I want to see it again.
But yeah, absolutely. One of the games of the decade. Fun fact. But that'll wrap it up here for the post-game show. For Trey and myself, Will Polson, for Nate backstage. Thank you for joining me.
Hey.
Whoa, what?
Wait. We're the last show of the weekend. No, Between the Ropes are on. I forgot about that. Crap. Okay, we'll move on real quick. We've got a second round of debate starting tomorrow night. Don't miss out on that. Will is pumped and he's ready. He's coming for you. Mess around. I'm sorry. You got to go. He's ready. I talked to him before. His eyes are determined. But the matchup, it's going to be a good one tomorrow night. J Mac of Jock Talk versus returning champion Coach Cam. It's going to be fun. Huh?
You said J Mac Jock Talk.
No, I call him J Mac. It's Jay. Jay from Jock Talk. I misspoke. I'm sorry.
Some people there is a J Mac,
But yeah, second round debate starting tomorrow night, so don't miss out if you're interested in that.
Absolutely. Coach Cam will have to defend his crown and come back and debate yet again. He will be taking on who he took on in the first round of last debate. As Jay made it on past Freddie, he will be taking on Coach Cam. And Trey's one of the judges. I think I'm one of the judges as well.
Sure.
So we'll be on there again tomorrow. If you like our smiling faces, then go ahead and catch them tomorrow, as we are going to be judges on that debate along with Chris Brown. So you'll be able to catch that. I know later in the week we've got some other debates. You're going to see J-Mac versus Landon. You're going to see Nate versus Chris, and you're going to see myself versus Mess Around Dave. So it's going to be a good one. We're going to have the debates coming back up. Round 2, get ready to start back off. We're in the Elite 8. We're going to figure out who the true debaters are on this network. And so until then, catch Between the Ropes later tonight. But go ahead and catch Real Talk in the debates tomorrow. But until then, for Trey, for Nate, and myself, Will Polston, thank you guys for joining us on the show. Peace.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.